Hello and welcome to Wiki Weekends. This episode I am your host Lucas Holland and I am joined as always by Karl Smallwood.
Hello.
And, as always with Wiki Weekends, we are bringing you a lovely wiki page to read through and just have a fun discussion about. And I had to pick, which was the lesser of a few evils with this one of, each Wikipedia page that I clicked on had some things that were better about it and some things that are worse, but we're rolling with it and we're talking about Futurama.
I love Futurama. Do you know what I don't like about Futurama? That every time they bring it back, the first 3 episodes are them going, oh look, they cancelled us, what idiots cancelled us. It's we get it.
Yeah, I
get it.
I've been rewatching some of it in excitement for the new series that's just come out, and I got to the bit where they've got refunded by Comedy Central, and they literally say "Oh, we got through this wormhole, and now we're on the Comedy Central," and I was like, "Oh."
It's that thing of this is some of the best comedy writers in the business. Is that the best you could do? It's when they call it the Box Network, and it's is this because that's the best you can do? Or is it that if you tried to write a smarter joke, people wouldn't get it?
Potentially, yes. And I should mention, though, you're a big fan of Futurama in general.
Of course, yes.
And I am the same. I haven't quite caught up to season 11 just yet, but
I don't want to watch it because the ending of the last season was so perfect. Do you remember what it was?
I didn't watch it again. I'm literally not caught up yet. I've started watching through the Comedy Central stuff now.
It's the final episode of the previous season, so it's the final episode, was Fry freezes time by accident, and him and Leela just spend an eternity together, fix the time machine, and then the professor just says, when I press this button, you'll all go back to the beginning. Are you okay with that? And just Fry and Leela hold hands and say, should we do it again? And it starts like an eternal loop, and the way they did it is they aired it live, and the next episode they played was the first one.
Oh man!
So it creates a perfect loop.
Yeah.
Now they just fuck that up. So you had a perfect somber, very good ending that literally put it in a perfect loop. Now the entire series, it's 10 seasons long. It goes in one big circle.
And that's the weird thing, isn't it? Obviously with them being cancelled a lot of the time, it's they never really did the proper ending.
And that felt like such a good ending. It's such a strong send-off to the characters.
That's really frustrating to hear.
That's the thing when I heard it was coming back.
Out season 11, fuck it.
I think it's not like it was Samurai Jack, where it just never had a proper ending. It's it had a very good, strong ending that everyone agrees is a perfect send-off to the series.
Mm-hmm.
It's good emotional payoff, and then there's nah, fuck it, do another. It's I get it.
I didn't watch it, but I saw obviously clips of the last episode and stuff, and it was I've not particularly been watching the anime for years and years, but when Pokemon did their final actual last episode with Ash in it,
yeah,
and it was just here's the Pokemon thing with the montage of Ash's journey throughout the years, but full HD remastered and all this, and I was oh my god, they couldn't have ended this better. And it's and they did the smart thing of move on to greener pastures with a new protagonist and
new character.
Cool, awesome. They actually spent 25 years wrapping up this story.
It's Adventure Time has done it as well. Speaking, the voice of Bender, he was in Adventure Time. They've just ended that and are starting it now with Fiona and Cupcake. Is it?
Oh, I don't know.
They're doing a new adventure, same universe, just different story, and it's just Futurama. That's there was always the argument of is Futurama better or is The Simpsons better? And it's the longer The Simpsons has gone on, the better Futurama gets by comparison. Of at least Futurama ended. It never had the zombie Simpson years where it had 10 straight seasons of absolute dreck. And now we might get that.
Yeah, and I hope we don't, because especially the first couple of seasons for me, Futurama is really special.
It's solid because it was just the Simpsons writers at the top of the game all left and made Futurama. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And I remember when it came to Disney Plus, just I started rewatching from the beginning and went, episode 1 is so strong. Like,
it's strong from the very beginning.
Just joke, it's like, joke.
It's like, some of the characters aren't as defined as they got in later seasons, but it's such a solid pilot and such a solid first season.
Please select mode of death. Quick and painless, or slow and horrible.
Yeah, I'd like to place a collect call.
You have selected slow and horrible.
Good choice.
And speaking of which, Carl, we have the wiki page here saying that Futurama is an American animated science fiction sitcom series created by Matt Groening. It's Matt Groening.
He always says, say it to rhyme with complaining.
Okay, Matt Groening then. And was complaining. It was developed for television by him and David X. Cohen. It's chronologically Fox's fourth animated series to debut. The series produced by 20th Television and the Curiosity Company. Mm-hmm. And the series focuses on the lives of delivery boy named Fry, Captain Leela, and Robot Bender in the futuristic 31st century.
Yeah. Who's your favourite Futurama character who's not part of the main cast?
Oh, who's not part of the...
Yeah.
When you say the main cast, like, just those three?
Those three, yeah. So anyone else but them?
I mean, I think it falls off over the years, but probably Zoidberg.
Like, Zoidberg is really good, but I really found myself liking Hermes.
Yeah.
Because I just like the characterization he gets later in the seasons, where he only ever calls his wife.
That's the thing. I think Zoidberg takes a bit of a dip over time, whereas Amy and Hermes go up in the ranks a bit.
Yeah, like Zoidberg, they kind of couldn't figure out what to do with him. Mm-hmm. But then Hermes, he's just got so many good lines of just... Oh, it's Barbados Slim, the only man to win a medal in limbo and sex. It's just like, what a line.
I see you're still able to limbo under the bar of fashion since.
After the first couple of seconds into 2000, Fry falls into a cryogenic tube and is frozen for 1,000 years, being released on December 31st, 2999. Mm-hmm. Which, it doesn't technically make perfect sense, because if he's frozen for 1,000 years, would it not be 3,000 yet?
Yeah.
But he comes out just as it's about to go 3,000. But yeah.
And one thing I've always appreciated about Futurama is their commitment to maintaining the timeline. Mm-hmm. Of you've probably seen the breakdown of in the very first episode, you see the shadow where Nibbler is.
Yeah.
It's not Nibbler yet, but there's a shadow because they always plan to do something with that.
It's like there's a hint that they had a plan.
Yeah.
And just the hint alone, the fact that they were like, we know we're going to do something weird with what happened to Fry, but we don't quite know the details. Is
and as well
manages to show the forethought that went into the show, at least early on.
Even when they go into the later ones where they start traveling through time, mm-hmm. they seem to really be committed to maintaining every little gag and stuff that they've made.
Yes.
To maintain consistency with it.
And I recently watched the episode where Nibbler is I demand to be taken seriously as not just Nibbler. And then all of a sudden the cats come in and they start getting attention, and he's like, can we just agree that I can be taken seriously when I want to, but mostly just get cuddled as being a cute, adorable pet? He's like, please, I want the strokes.
And even we are powerless to stop them, fearsome though we are.
The thing is, though, there's just Nibbler's another character whose lines, sometimes they slay me.
Yeah.
When he's talking about the giant brain bank.
Yes.
Just a little line that slays me out of nowhere is, they built a giant information sphere, 3 times the size of 3 regular information spheres. It's what the fuck's an information sphere? It's
that's got to be one of the funniest moments and funniest sets of episodes to this day is the bit where Nibbler reveals himself and all the brains attack, and it's the Scooty Puff Jr.
Just remember that Scooty Puff Jr. sucks.
Uh-oh.
Love it so much, and My little vehicle that you ride around on Destiny is the Scooty Puff Jr. reference, and
You've got to do it, yeah.
It's been my like little sparrow since it came out in Destiny like years ago. I'm just like little round in the Scooty Puff Jr.
It's just like we could just sit here and just quote lines from each episode, like remember Scooty Puff Jr. sucks, and it comes out like Scooty Puff Senior, and he's like the Widowmaker, like the eagle with a rocket launcher.
So it ran on Fox in 1999 and continued till 2013. And the show is currently set to return on Hulu July 24th, 2023. So this wiki needs to update its fucking self because it's the 26th right now.
Yeah, what are like the Futurama fans doing? Like, normally they're right on that.
And I will clarify, this is on Futurama fandom, but then there's also like the Infosphere, which is another Futurama fan page. Yeah. And then there's also just like the Wikipedia page, and
of course, yeah,
they all had like different levels of detail and strengths and differences. So hopefully this one goes well. But we do have a list of the original voice actors here.
Let's see if I can name them all. So
Philip Fry
is Billy West.
We have Taranga Leela.
That's Katie Siegel.
Yes. Bender
is Joe DiMaggio.
Or
John DiMaggio.
John DiMaggio, yeah. As he's known here as his full title, Bender Bending Rodriguez, which is just great. Amy Wong.
I don't know her.
Amy Wong is by Lauren Tom.
Okay.
We have Hermes Conrad.
Oh, that's the voice of Samurai Jack. That's Phil Lamar.
Is that the same voice actor? Oh man.
Same voice actor, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
She's really weird. I like Phil Lamar voice as like an Asian dude. So I recently went back and rewatched some Samurai Jack and forgot that they like give him like a yellow tint to his skin.
Oh,
in those early episodes
because
he's like, and they cut that. They stopped doing that in like the remake.
I remember him being really pale in my mind space Samurai Jack. Yeah, we have Kif Kroker.
This is where I start to know.
That's Maurice LaMarche.
Oh, Maurice LaMarche. Oh yeah, of course. He's the voice like the brain.
Mom? Oh yeah, Mom as in like the evil corporation.
Oh, she's got so many good lines as well.
Yeah.
This is starting to...
That is
Tress MacNeille?
Tress MacNeille, yeah.
Tress MacNeille, okay.
Nibbler.
Oh, it's going to be someone famous, isn't it? No.
Someone I didn't realise, but yeah, Frank Welker.
Frank Welker, of course, fucking Frank Welker.
Yeah.
Fred, Megatron. Really curious.
And then Scruffy Scruffington. I didn't know that was his last name.
I don't know who's the voice actor, but whoever it is a legend.
David Herman.
Okay. And then I think Zach Brannigan is also Billy West, right?
The three that it has here for Billy West is Philip J. Fry, Hubert J. Farnsworth, and John A. Zoidberg, but I believe he also is the voice of Zach Brannigan, yeah.
You can hear it in the voice. Like when you listen to the voice, like divorced of like the visuals, you can hear a lot of Fry inside of Zach Brannigan, which makes sense because the voice of Fry is just Billy West's normal speaking voice.
Yeah, that is
a video about Fact Fiend.
I was going to say that's one of Fact Fiend's most popular videos.
It is, yes. Where Billy West just used his own speaking voice to voice Fry so that he couldn't be replaced because he realised that anyone trying to replace him would try and do a voice actor will naturally do a more exaggerated version of when they're doing an impression. But you can't do a more exaggerated impression of someone's normal speaking voice. So they'd never get it quite right.
Yeah, it's like you hear a lot of people do Bender impressions specifically, and while they're very close, they are normally more like cartoonish than Bender actually is.
Yeah. There's a lot there's less subtlety to the impression. It's like when people do like Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions.
Yeah.
So he's usually like overly exaggerated to how he'd actually speak.
And I do find it funny, and this is why I picked like this page of all. Like this is like the running of it, and it's like we have here the original run. This one I didn't know about, the DVD movie comeback, then revival on Comedy Central, and now a revival on Hulu.
Yeah, because that's they kept making like movies that they turn into seasons. Like they're like The Beast with a Billion Backs, Bender's Big Score. And they turn them into seasons. Like some seasons of a show are like 6 episodes long because it's just those movies.
Well, I guess we'll get to that in a moment then. So yeah, it says the original was March 28th, 1999, which the show ran for 4 seasons before Fox decided to drop the show. The final episode of the original run was in 2004, the devil's hands are idle playthings, and I forgot that was like the last one. That's an amazing episode.
That's such a thing is though, you think about that being one of the strongest episodes. So many memorable moments, like the holophoner one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You have like the devil, who's an amazing, like Robot Devil's an amazing character. You have that like emotional gut punch at the end, right? You know, he learns how to play the holophoner. So you can see why they'd be a bit pissed off with like how much they got cancelled after making like one of the best episodes of the show.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, you know, it has that really nice ending, and it's not really the ending of a show, but it's a great ending to like an episode. And profoundly, Leela says, "I want to see how it ends," making this the last thing spoken in the original series.
Please don't stop playing, Fry. I want to hear how it ends.
Yeah, it does say here that on April 26, 2006, that Groening stated that numerous people, including Cohen and many writers and actors, were returning to make 4 DVD movies that started with Bender's Big Score and ended with Into the Wild Green Yonder. I don't remember which that one was.
I think that's like maybe the D&D one.
Oh, this is where they go to like the construction site of New Mars Vegas.
Oh yeah, I remember that episode.
And I think that's the one where they have like the like ladybug cow things, I think.
Yeah, the bugalows.
Is that what they're called? The bugalows?
The bugalows.
But yeah, they were released as 4-part episodes. In Bender's Big Score, Hermes declared that the executives who dropped the company's contract have since been fired and ground into a fine pink powder. So even then, it's just like they immediately can't help themselves.
So I get it. I'd be salty if I wrote Futurama and you're getting like rave reviews.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same thing like Family Guy, where Family Guy infamously got cancelled and then did absolute gangbusters in DVD sales. And they brought it back because they were selling like so many DVDs and doing so well in syndication, and they realised they owned it.
And I think, you know, Family Guy and Futurama probably have a similar story in that sense of being cancelled multiple times only for, like, as you say, DVD sales and, you know, reruns on TV and stuff, like, just so popular that they end up being forced to bring it back.
And it's kind of weird as well because, like, their counterparts, like The Simpsons, never been cancelled, never will. And then American Dad, I don't remember American Dad ever being cancelled.
It probably has. Let's be honest. It probably has at some point.
Yeah, because I see American Dad as like American Dad is Family Guy's Futurama, in that it's a spin-off or, you know, an alternate project they worked on. That's just been better consistency. Like Simpsons, flawless, that 9-season run, then it starts to get bad. But it's been going on for 33 seasons now. So like, there's now more bad seasons than good seasons, whereas like Futurama, solid 10 seasons. Same thing like American Dad. Of like Family Guys, it's like 24th season.
Right, yeah.
And just those characters got old, whereas like American Dad's gone from strength to strength. And I still think American Dad is fucking so funny.
I think out of all 4, I'm definitely more of a Futurama person than any of them, but I do think that American Dad's more consistently funny than Family Guy, yeah.
Yeah, because American Dad just has so many just good lines. And like the one where Stan's just about to eat some food before he goes and bangs his missus. He's like, "Ah, yes, I sure can pump when I'm full of ham." So I use that line at least once per week.
Oh, okay, so the DVDs proved to be successful, so Comedy Central declared a new series to be made with 26 episodes over 2 broadcast seasons, beginning with season 6 on the Futurama website, and it premiered June 24th, 2010. The weirdness continues here, where it's like I presume this is just because like a lot of seasons have mid-seasons breaks, but it's like season 7A aired in 2012 and 7B aired in 2013. Season 7B was the last season. The final episode aired on September 4th, 2013. Although Matt Groening would say that he wanted to get it picked up by another network. And then...
he just wanted all the networks at him, didn't he?
Yeah. And
like Matt Groening was desperate to get Futurama out there.
Like, has it been that long since Futurama actually ended? Has it been like 10 years? Because then the next thing here is just like Revival on Hulu. Revival on Hulu is set for an 8th season of 20 episodes. You know, as we always say here on Wiki, because we've got to stick to the information that's like compiled by these people. If that's wrong, let us know in the comments. But yeah, these are people dedicated to cataloguing Futurama way more than Carl and I can remember. And Carl, It's got a list of the main characters here and just some like brief description of each one.
Okay, this I want to hear.
So, give me a couple of like your favourite characters that we can go talk about.
It's got to be Fry, hasn't it? Good old Orange Joe.
We're going to talk about good old Fry. And I do think that they do a good job with making Fry one of the like more likeable protagonists in, you know, any kind of sitcom. Just in sitcom in general, I generally a lot of the time find like the main character to be the boring, bland one.
Yeah, he might be the most likable, at least animated sitcom protagonist. Like Homer Simpson turns into an arsehole by season 10. Mm-hmm. Peter Griffin is a sociopath. Like Stan from American Dad is the least interesting character in the show. Mm-hmm. The Cleveland Show was voiced by a white dude for like 10 seasons, so I don't give a fuck about him. Ooh. But like, you know, Fry, he just means well. And he gets some really good lines like, hey, so what do they call you? My friends call me Orange Joe.
And shout out to, it's probably not the first example out there. Again, people in the comments, let us know what the first thing that you can think of to do this. Mm-hmm. Fry maybe popularized the whole, like, way to do a super speed scene in modern day.
Yeah, like the episode where he has like the 300 coffees.
I think it's 100, and the moment he rolls over to 100, like, he goes from being like this shaking mess to like, oh, and just the world slows down, and he saves people from the fire, just like, you know, similar to like Quicksilver saving people from an explosion in X-Men 15 years later. That would have happened
before X-Men, obviously, yeah. And that's a really good episode as well, because that's the one where just a little throwaway gag where the guy's like, no more crack house for me, and he goes to the crack mansion. And it's like, oh, your crack pipe has been pre-warmed, sir. I'm not going to the crack mansion.
And yeah, so like, I genuinely cannot think every time this discussion is brought up, like, if there is an earlier example of like doing super speed like that.
Probably like a cartoon, like Speedy Gonzales, probably. Like, you know, it's a full, like 2-3 minute long scene.
Mm-hmm. And it's still one of the most memorable and great. Just like you just see Fry like, I need more coffee. I'm going to explode, and then he just like ascends to the heavens.
See, just done like crack. That same result.
So Philip J. Fry the first. I don't know why it says that.
Because his nephew, isn't it? His nephew's named after him. Oh,
yes,
again, one of the best episodes of the season, like the show, where Fry finds out his nephew is named after him.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, like, you know, doesn't he first think it's like his brother stealing his ambitions and stuff? Yeah.
And then you get the best bit where Bender's like, okay, I've dug him up, do you want to like beat up the corpse a little? It's like just roughing up the corpse with a shovel.
During his early life, he took a job as a delivery boy for Panucci's Pizza and was frozen in a cryogenic lab for 1,000 years. Upon revival, he found himself as a delivery boy once again, which is just like one of the most beautiful things of like...
It's so good, yeah.
You know, essentially the entire point of Futurama is he travels 1,000 years into the future and nothing's really actually different.
Yeah, he just goes to show...
things are in space now.
The situation changes, but the job remains the same. It's like a journey about finding fulfillment through friends and, like, you know, experiences, not things and your job. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty wholesome message when you think about it. It's like, he just learns to enjoy that because he learns to take life one day at a time, and he has good friends surrounding him as opposed to his life in the past.
Yeah, exactly. And he becomes part of the Planet Express crew. He is noted for his out-of-the-ordinary hairstyle. He is an often lazy guy who is driven for excitement and has a love interest for Turanga Leela. Mm-hmm. And I actually think it's really wholesome as well, the way that, like, they could have so easily thrown away, like, the Leela and Fry thing for the sake of a gag, like so many other shows do.
Yes.
And the fact that they actually stick with, no, it's like Fry and Leela are the love interest, and that's obviously there's like bits and pieces where it's like she's dating somebody else, but that turns out to be like an alternate Fry and all this.
Yeah.
But
I still like that one where Fry is like So how do you convince a woman to sleep with this? Like, what you do is you look into their eyes and you cry and go, "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen." Lee's like, "That never work on me." Wait a minute, they all did that, even Sean. It's just, and we've got to give a shout out to the episode where they go to like the planet with the alien who shapeshifts.
Oh yes, and it's like he pretends to be the only other Cyclops in the universe. Because
Katie Sagal was famously on Married with Children, like with Al Bundy, and like they do that. They get the same. I think it is Ed O'Neill does the voice, maybe.
And they literally just do a full-on parody of it, where she's like in the like 80s dress and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, just bring me another beer, and she's just got like become domesticated housewife, and then it turns out it's like, oh no, I was actually dating like another 8-eyed person on the other end of the planet. And
the thing is, can we shout out as well, one of the low-key funniest jokes in the show that's there, it's like, look, there's a statue over here of a guy with 8 eyes, and Bender's like, yeah, there's one over here with no eyes, and he just pops all the gems out.
That's weird. It's another Cyclops, only this one has 5 eyes.
And here's another one with no eyes.
So do you have like a favourite Fry moment then?
I mean, you can't not talk about I can't even remember the name of it, but the dog episode.
Oh yeah, Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, that's it. In just the tragic story of like the dog that just waited outside for Fry and he never came back, and it's like, dear God, Futurama, what are you doing to me? Like, no.
Do they retcon the shit out of that?
Oh no, they didn't.
They say there's time travel, and that like Fry, like an alternate Fry, went back in time and spent time with Seymour.
Oh, okay, right. They didn't ruin the moment.
No, they said that he waited, then an alternate Fry went back and spent time with him.
That's good. That's good to know that like the dog got some love in the end. But yeah, I think for like an entire generation of people, that was a moment in time where it's like, holy shit, just Futurama like tore out our hearts.
It's like it to me. It topped "Do It for Her," which is the Simpsons moment. I think has the same level of like emotional gut punch, where like Homer has all the pictures of Maggie at his office.
Oh right, okay.
It's like "Do It for Her," so it's like But I think like that one it hits hard because like people like dogs more than babies.
Generally speaking, yeah, and like Maggie is not much of a character. Obviously, you know she does like to murder billionaires, so we are on board with Maggie.
We are on board with Maggie. Yeah. The old snipperiffle.
Just Maggie's been eating the rich for 25 years.
It's like she's on it. So go on then. What's your favourite character then?
I think out of the rest of as I say, like I do enjoy Zoidberg as like a side character, but I think he is a bit up and down. So I think we just talk about everybody's favourite robot, Bender Bending Rodriguez.
Like, what a fucking character. You can do anything with him. Like, the thing is though, because it's like you can do anything because you can go between like him being like a pathetic mess to then just like a psychopathic murderer.
Yeah.
You still love him.
And a Karl werewolf.
Well, that's the thing, but you just love him because like the amount of fucking just confidence that man exudes.
And
like, any favourite Bender lines? So I've got one.
Go on.
It's like when you said the werewolf car. It's like, I can't keep running people over. I'm not famous enough to get away with it. It's such a good line.
I can't keep running people over. I'm not famous enough to get away with it.
That's what I mean. It's like I find Futurama's sense of humour so much more akin to my taste than the other ones.
It's so much more subtle. Like it stayed a lot more subtle as well. Like there's a lot more word gags than in The Simpsons, where they started to like do a lot more visual stuff, like slapstick in later seasons and stuff. Like, there's still some decent like Simpsons still like untouchable, but it's like those ones like. Or another one which always just slays me is when like Kif's getting married to Amy. There's the woman who performs the ceremony says like, I'm gonna go now. I live here, but you don't have to talk to me anymore. And just for the rest of the scenes, he's just stood in the background. Just little things like that. They always crack me up.
So Bender Bending Rodriguez is a bumbling and foul-mouthed robot who was born in Mexico and found his life to have been created for nothing more than bending girders for suicide booths.
Yeah,
I didn't realise it was specifically for the suicide booths.
It is, yes.
But that's just like the Rick and Morty robot meme, isn't it? Of like, why do I exist? It's like, to bend girders. No. Yeah. And I would argue that's still one of my favourite Rick and Morty jokes. Like,
yeah,
it's gone so downhill for me. But that little butter robot, he always gets me. So the drunk, smoking gambler attempted to kill himself while meeting Fry, only to be convinced to get a job at Planet Express, where he continued his rebellious attitude and manifested his personality into habits like gambling. And I love the fact that at some point it's like, they teach Bender that he doesn't just have to bend girders.
Yeah.
It's like he just goes against his programming, and then there's all sorts of things of like. I'm
now remembering that episode where he's sleep bending.
Oh god! And he just bends the professor in half.
The one that always gets me is when Zoidberg says, "And my slinky," and he has the perfectly straight bit of wire, but then he bends it back. He rolls down the slope and then just catches fire. It always just sends me.
There, little friend, good as new.
Oh! I think one of my favourite Bender episodes also just like him becoming the wrestler.
You can't hit what you can't see.
I can't remember the name of the giant like mech that he fights at the end.
I forget the name of it, yeah, but I do like that robot. When it appears like later on like the Mother's Day one, where it's like giving Mom the Mother's Day, like, this is from the heart. It's just, why are there so many top tier Futurama? Like, every side character has a moment. That's just incredible.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's Futurama for everyone. I wanted to talk about it and have some fun, just remembering some incredible episodes,
and just put in some clips. Many clips.
As long as like Fox/Disney Hulu/Comedy Central don't come after us for it.
The hope is that they'll all be they'll all be arguing over who gets the copyright strike and they'll forget.
Well, that's a legitimate thing that people figured out that they could do in YouTube videos, if anyone's not aware of, like cramming a video with so many different copyrighted things that they can't all claim revenue on it, so it just kind of cancels out.
Yeah.
Is that I respect that play, so maybe that'll happen to this and we can get some clips in, but with something that's owned by Disney, I'm always just like...
As long as you go for clips from different seasons.
Yeah.
Maybe this is one that's, this is from the heart. Gets me every fucking time.
This originates from the heart!
It's just what I wanted.
Thank you everyone for joining another episode of Wiki Weekends.
We'll see you all next time.
Bye.